that is almost in the soul and the spirit of our nation. It's resilience, perseverance, grit, the ability to overcome the impossible, to shoot for the stars and sometimes actually land there on the moon, to build an interstate highway, win 2 world wars on 2 different fronts. And there's a story that I think embodies this better than any other. When you think things can't get any worse, and I know a lot of you have probably been watching television, you just close it, you're like, oh, I just can't take it anymore. I just feel like it is nothing but darkness and doom and gloom. Let me tell you a story about one of the darkest days in American history. A day that was, quote, that will always live in infamy. I'm talking about Pearl Harbor, when Japan preemptively struck us on a sunny day in Hawaii, and they sunk the entire Pacific Fleet. Thousands of American soldiers died in 30 minutes or less. We did not declare war on the Japanese, they declared war on us. We didn't know what we were going to do, and all of a sudden we didn't have just one war, we had 2 wars on our hands, because if we're at war with Japan, that means we're also at war in the European theater. America was scrambling, we didn't know what to do, and Franklin Delano Roosevelt gives the speech, this is a day we live in infamy, and Congress almost unanimously votes for a declaration of war in both theaters. America was solemn, somber, confused, and looking for direction, but there was one man that was smiling on December 6th, and that man was the greatest man to live in the 20th century, a person that we've deleted from our textbooks and from our history. It's Winston Churchill. Winston Churchill was the greatest man to live in the 20th century because he was built for that moment. They hated him before the war, and they hated him after the war. He wrote 50 books, and he understood the world better than anyone else. He called the Nazi scourge before it happened, while it happened, and during it, and was able to defeat it. But he was smiling that morning. Why was he smiling? He walked into his war cabinet, probably on 2 hours of sleep, with a little bit of whiskey and a little bit of a cigar, the way Winston Churchill always would. A smile a mile wide you'd think would be Christmas morning. And his war cabinet was distraught, almost crying. And they said, "Prime Minister, have you lost your mind? Why are you smiling?" And he's smiling. He says, takes a puff at his cigar. "We have won the war." And his war cabinet, his war minister shuffles his papers and says, "Sir, with all due respect, what do you mean we have won the war? Currently, they just bombed the church in North London. The Royal Air Force is losing 300 people a day. We barely got our troops out of Dunkirk. The opposition is planning a ground invasion of any moment at Brighton. We can't even field an army, let alone staff a navy. Our Air Force is a laughingstock against the Luftwaffe. What do you mean we have won the war?" Winston Churchill takes another puff of his cigar. He says, "I know the Americans. Once they awaken, it is over. We have won the war." And ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you, when we awaken and we contest for truth, the war is won. It is a matter of how bad we want it. It's in our spirit. If we wanted to retreat, we'd go to the French. If we wanted a day off, we'd go to Italy. If we wanted to sue for peace, we would go back to France. If we wanted to complain, we would go to the United Kingdom. If you want to win, you go to America. It's in our spirits, in our soul. It's who we are. We are going to win. God bless you guys.